Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Threads 2019. My name is Kelsey Nowlin, Fashion Management graduate and event coordinator for Threads 2019. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize the territory that we stand on today. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation and other Indigenous peoples who have previously lived on this land. I am honored to stand here today before all of my fellow graduates and say that our hard work was worth it. Our schooling here was anything but easy, but we did it. We frantically finished assignment after assignment, we spent countless hours in the library, and we blew our life savings on Tim Hortons coffee to stay awake during it all. Your dedication has impressed your teachers, your peers, and I hope that you have impressed yourselves with what you've accomplished. Of course, we did not get here on our own. It's important that we thank all of our esteemed industry partners, amazing staff and faculty, prospective students, and of course our families who have come to celebrate with us today. Fashion can be inspiring and beautiful, dynamic and exciting. But as we move forward in this industry, we cannot turn a blind eye to the devastation that it has caused. Threads takes place during Fashion Revolution Week, a week which honors the 1,138 lives lost in the 2013 Rana Plaza factory collapse in Bangladesh. Fashion Revolution Week is a time to reflect on this tragedy and the many others that have taken the lives of innocent workers. As we embark on our journeys into the world of fashion, we must not forget that our actions have consequences. Our designs, our purchases, our sourcing decisions have a global impact. We are here today because we love fashion. We are enchanted by the story that clothing tells and watch with excitement and wonder when a garment makes its debut on the runway. This is our passion and not just our career, and this passion and love for what we do will help us push for the growth that this industry needs. We must continue to improve and educate ourselves so that we can be the agents of positive change in this industry. We have prepared a series of questions that we'll have answered by some of our graduating students. I would like to introduce our first three graduate speakers from our diploma programs. Mallory Weeb from Fashion Business Industry, Samantha Macri from Fashion Management, and Heather Duncan from Fashion Techniques and Design. Our next three graduates are from postgraduate fashion programs at George Brown College. Anna Ahenbauma from International Fashion Management, Pamela Hunter from Sustainable Fashion Production, and finally, Christian Daly from Apparel Technical Design. So my first question goes to Anna. What do you feel is the biggest challenge in the fashion industry at the moment?
I think that in the industry, the biggest challenge is definitely related to sustainability and ethics. Fashion brands are known for human rights violations and activities that lead to environmental destruction. We need companies to take action across their entire supply chain for the good of everyone and everything involved. As a management student, I recognize the difficulty for businesses to balance their triple bottom line, which is people, planet, and profit. But to compete in this competitive industry, companies need to place a higher importance on reducing their negative environmental impact and increasing their positive social impact. On that note, I'd like to thank the professors I've had at George Brown for bringing up the topics of sustainability and ethics throughout all of the courses that I've had. I'm happy that this conversation is being had, and I'm sure that as graduates now, we're definitely more equipped to deal with these challenges in the workplace. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Pamela, in your opinion, how can we as fashion graduates make a substantial difference in this industry going forward?
Thank you. I believe as fashion graduates, for us moving forward to make a real difference, we need to never lose sight of our goals and to remember to always keep growing. We need to have the determination to push ourselves out of our comfort zones because there is so much to be done in the industry moving forward. I believe that we need to focus going forward on sustainability because we need to have the determination to improve our planet and look for solutions to improve the environmental footprint. We need to have a look at what's happening in the world and use our motivation and determination to come up with viable solutions for the triple bottom line. So to answer the question, we need to stay informed, continue learning, and be open to working together.
So my question for Sam is, how and why did you get into fashion, and what makes you remain in this industry?
Oh my gosh, okay, so fashion was always very intriguing to me. I thought, it's very cool because it's constantly changing and it's very consumer run. So it's that trickle up effect where the consumers are the ones that kind of make the decision. I'm in a generation where a single post can turn something that's outdated into something that's trendy. And as merchants or retailers, you have to really be on your toes and be able to adapt to those changes really quickly. And I think that's the coolest thing about the industry. I always love fashion because I continue to stay in it because it's constantly teaching me new things. I love that the more I learn, the less I know. And it's a great industry to be in. Also, majority of it is run by women, which I think is just incredible to begin with. So give a round of applause for women around the world. Thank you.
Kristen, what is one piece of practical advice that you would give to someone starting out as a worker or as a student in this industry?
Practical advice I would offer to a fashion student is basically to research your industry, have a plan and an end goal. Researching your industry can be as easy as researching industry profiles on LinkedIn or Googling company profiles on Glassdoor. Sites like this can give you insight towards a potential role that you're interested in, your potential salary, and the work experience that is required to get your feet into the front door. Now, once you have this information, you have to make decisions regarding the roles that are suitable for you, as well as the courses that you need to focus on to get the right skills. You can use this information to plan backwards from your end goal. Ultimately, the more information you have, the more prepared you'll be for the fashion industry.
Thank you. Mallory, what are some common misconceptions people have about the fashion industry, and how can we combat these misconceptions?
I would say that a very popular misconception, and one that I've personally heard a lot, is that working in the fashion industry is glamorous and easy. A fashion program is made up of challenging classes such as math, history, logistics, etc., that force you to use your brain and study hard in order to do well in them. I've had people tell me, well, you're just doing fashion, it can't be that hard, don't you just shop or sew all day? Absolutely not. Once you get that first job, it will most likely be grunt work, sometimes just steaming or organizing samples until you start to gain more experience and prove yourself. Even once you do that, no matter what job you obtain, whether it be a buyer, a planner, a retail manager, or a designer, it's not going to be all glamorous. In order to combat these misconceptions, I would say it's up to us as people in the industry to let people know what exactly we do and how we prepare ourselves. Before deciding on the fashion business industry program, I really did my research and prepared myself for some hard work, not only in school, but also for what's to come in the work world. As a representative of the fashion business industry program, I'm thankful that these 2 years were challenging because that's preparation for the real world.
And finally, Heather, do you remember a specific experience where you wish that the fashion industry had done something differently or handled it differently? And if the instance were to be done over, what would you change?
So many. It does seem that every day there's a new thing to be outraged in the fashion industry. But thinking back on it, the first time I remember truly feeling outraged was when I discovered an enamel pin in Zara in 2016, which was identical to one that was designed and sold by Cry Wolf here in Toronto. It's a smaller brand. And that just kind of opened the floodgates to this practice of lifting ideas and art from smaller independent designers. We know fast fashion steals from the high fashion runways. I'm fine with that. But I don't like when they're picking on the little guy that can't fight back, especially given the lack of copyright law and protection that there is for fashion and design in Canada. So I don't know exactly what I could do differently about it, but I do think that the government could maybe work to reform those copyright laws in order to help protect the fashion industry in Canada and as a whole. I think we need those smaller designers and artists to make it thrive.
So please join me in another round of applause to thank all of our graduate speakers for their thoughtful answers. And next, I would like to welcome our George Brown College School of Fashion Chair, Rosa Francasa.
Thank you, Kelsey, and thank you to all the graduates for sharing your heartfelt words. Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted that you have joined us for Threads 2019. I see many familiar faces, fashion industry partners, faculty, staff, graduates, students, family, and friends. Thank you all for being here with us at Threads 2019. Today we showcase the talents of our graduating class to the fashion industry in our fashion show, Enchantment. You will see garments that embody the energy and diversity of George Brown College. And for all of our fashion graduate success that we celebrate this past year, we also acknowledge the many challenges of our industry. To mark Fashion Revolution Day on April 24th, our students pay homage to the victims of the Rana Plaza tragedy with a collection of upcycled garments. In collaboration with our industry partners, the Salvation Army Thrift Stores National Recycling Operations, you will see the Possibilities Project come down our Enchantment runway this evening. As a generation who advocates for environmental and social sustainability, our students are also fundraising to help families who have lost loved ones in the Dhaka, Bangladesh 2013 tragic building collapse. Please support our cause by purchasing raffle tickets to win a longboard living skateboard, the Traveling Tailor's custom-made shirt, or colorful ties, or Laura Siegel's recycled silk scarves to support Project 1127. We hope that everyone will have an opportunity to meet our students, or sorry, I should say that you had an opportunity to meet our students at Studio this afternoon. Their presentations were on display as you entered Witchward Barnes. Fashion industry partners also met with our graduates at Fashion Works this afternoon to connect, network, and create relationships to transition into the fashion industry. So it's been a busy day. And during the awards ceremony, which we will celebrate after the fashion show this evening, we will also celebrate our students' achievements. Thank you to everyone for supporting our year-end fashion event. Your presence here has been much anticipated by our Threads 2019 Planning Committee. Please join me in a round of applause to congratulate these students and their faculty for all their hard work to make today a reality. Congratulations. So it was a very small team this year. Congratulations to Anna, Brenda, Carolyn, Courtney, Jessica, Joylita, Kelsey, Michael, Renee, Silver, Vivara, Winnie, and Yura. And I would also like to congratulate our Threads faculty team, Professor Winnie Lung, Sarah Hood, and Carolyn Perry-Donnan. Thank you for making Threads a success. And of course, to all our faculty and staff who have contributed in some way to today in one way or another. We are also grateful to our industry partners, both seasoned and new, for your continued interest in our students and your confidence in George Brown College to recruit our graduates. Thank you to our Fashion Works industry exhibitors for showcasing this afternoon. Thank you to Fabricite, Sephora, the Banisti Group, Start GBC, Holler Magazine, Levi's, Style Democracy, Powerhouse Retail, Longboard Living, Progati, and Comex Apparel. And a special thank you also to Eleanor Faulkner, sitting in the first row, for taking the time to work with our models. You will definitely see Eleanor's influence on our runway tonight. Thank you, industry members, for coming out to support our graduates today. We are excited to have you here. And tonight we would like to especially acknowledge a faculty member who passed away a few weeks ago, who contributed greatly to the development of our designers. Threads 2019 is dedicated to the memory of Professor Nick Malachek, who loved fashion design and shared his passion with his many students over the past 20 years at George Brown College. To our fashion graduates, may you enjoy your transition from education into industry. As agents of change, we are counting on you to contribute to a responsible fashion industry. From the fashion faculty and staff here at George Brown College, we wish you all the best in your fashion careers. Enjoy your journey in our exciting, change-intensive, and rewarding industry. Congratulations to you all. And I'll turn it back over to Kelsey, who will introduce our industry speaker.
With over 35 years of experience in the industry, he has worked at Canada Goose as Vice President of Sales, driving revenue in the millions, distributed to over 40 countries. As founder of Impact Group, an exclusive agency for sales and distribution outside North America, Canadian footwear brand Manitoba Mucklucks recently hired him to take their label to a global level. He is a Canadian brand pioneer who understands iconic products that offer both function and fashion. Working with businesses to unearth the problems that get in the way of making the consumer experience actually better, he oversees business while advising clients on their domestic, international, and global growth challenges with customer-centered strategies. His track record is stellar, as is his commitment to student learning. We so enjoyed his fireside chat last year at GBC Trends, so we invited him to share his words of wisdom and inspiration with us today. Please join me in a round of applause in welcoming our industry guest speaker, Paul Silverton.
Wow. So, thanks, Kelsey. Good evening, everyone. I'm really honored to have been invited here tonight to share in the excitement of Threads 2019. It's quite humbling to be standing in front of such talented and passionate designers, technicians, managers, and entrepreneurs of the future. Now, my story goes back to a long time ago in a galaxy far away, but hopefully there are some anecdotes and some stories that I can share with you that kind of relate to the kind of challenges that the graduates will face in their future. So my story in this industry starts way back in 1977 as a newly landed immigrant. I got my very first job on Spadina Avenue as a salesman, carrying a bag of buttons, buckles, and non-woven interfacings, running up and down stairs in century-old buildings with that smell of steam irons, wooden floors, the constant hum of Singer and Juki sewing machines just coming in, the odor of formaldehyde in rolls of textiles, and definitely no air conditioning. My customers were clothing manufacturers who were conveniently clustered around the downtown garment district, as it was known, and there were some in the far north, even as far up as Lawrence and Dufferin. What I did know, being young and somewhat naive, was get out there. Be visible, be memorable, and yes, be available. No off button, never stop. But what I really needed was an opportunity, not a job. So I got into the garment business or the apparel industry by what was defined at the time, tongue-in-cheek, as sheer bad luck. But even at my very entry-level sales job, I knew I had to get in front of people, the people who make decisions, especially if it could influence my career. And that applies to basically every point of entry, be it design, merchandising, marketing, sales, or manufacturing. So when I got a call from Pegasus of Canada, which was one of my shirt manufacturer customers, to offer me a real sales job, I thought, okay, now I have really hit the big time. From hustling buttons and linings to selling men's dress and sports shirts to some of the best shops in Toronto. And within 2 years from that time, I and two colleagues bought the majority of that company. Great. It's 1981. I'm still a kid, at least that's what the downtown Garmentos told me. We have a domestic, Downsview-based shirt factory with 140 sewing operators, 6 cutting tables, a recognizable brand name with products selling to top-tier stores in Canada, such as even then Holt Renfrew, Harry Rosen, La Maison Simons, and yes, even Roots. And a huge opportunity, but we didn't know it yet. We were still importing fashion textiles from the world's leading textile mills, Italy, France, Germany, Austria, Japan, and we were manufacturing them right here in Canada, but with European styling, made in Canada. The challenge was how to differentiate. What could we do to justify premium pricing versus made in Hong Kong pricing, as many of our competitors were moving offshore at the time? After all, being made in Canada was not really appreciated that much then. And I have a small little anecdote which I'm going to share with you, because when we took over the factory, we needed some engineer help, and we recruited a rising star in the engineer world by the name of Constantine Campagnaris, who came and worked with us. So thank you, Constantine. Look how the world turns, right? So when opportunity knocks, you answer it. You open the door. In fact, you remove the door and you can get it completely out the way because it just gets in the way. This was the early 1980s. Many women, or more women I should say, were getting back into the workforce, particularly in finance, law, and accounting. And as luck would have it, their workplace uniform of choice, and validation, may I say, was the tailored woolen suit. Jackets with shoulder pads, the long skirts and pants. And underneath those jackets would be a tailored, woven cotton shirt. And so began for Pegasus of Canada the 1980s women's great shirt rush. But young, passionate, and always in a hurry, we saw a huge opportunity, not just in Canada, but particularly in the United States. And we were actively then engaging to sell into the USA market. Top-tier retailers such as Nordstrom, Neiman's, and Saks Fifth Avenue, who were eager to take advantage of this emerging category to support their growing women's tailored clothing business. A brand new phenomenon, really. I believe that we were arguably one of the first companies in the early 80s to export to the United States. There was a lot of business still to be done in Canada, and the conventional wisdom, and notice the words conventional wisdom, at the time seemed to suggest that there was always more to do in Canada. So why look for new markets? Our revenues skyrocketed over a 10-year period, and as well as we succeeded in establishing ourselves as exporters of made-in-Canada production, with a reputation for quality, competitive pricing, reliability, and European-influenced styling, but with an American aesthetic, meaning our blocks and our fit were crucial to our success versus the skimpy European imports. We sold that business, and in 1996, I hooked up with the Incredible Clothing Company right here in Toronto. The Incredible Clothing Company had been growing rapidly, and their business model was simple. Knit, dye, cut, sew, design, print, and package T-shirts and fleece, all in Toronto and Montreal. They had been highly successful selling concert T-shirts and event T-shirts. Think of the Rolling Stones, Bridges to Babylon tour, I think we did. World Series, back-to-back Blue Jays, 92, 93. And they developed a private label business for retailers and wholesalers here in Canada. Anybody remember Northern Reflections? So the call came, hey, Paul, you know the States. Can you help us get into the US market? Well, here's the thing. I knew nothing about the screen print T-shirt business, but I would sure learn. So I did know I could get in front of people, especially if I hopped on a plane to far-off places like Dallas, Little Rock, and New York. And if I had faith and belief in my product offering and gave the target retailers a compelling reason to buy, then maybe I could make something happen. So I worked with a team of graphic artists, and we built a full package, vertically integrated private label solution for almost every department store buying and merchandising team, such as the Dillard's team, the JCPenney, Macy's, and so on. We also established a T-shirt and fleece business for well-known wholesale brands, such as DKNY, CK Jeans, Polo Jeans, Abercrombie, and the list goes on and on and on. Of course, a 70-cent dollar, low minimums, short runs, quick response, just-in-time manufacturing, didn't hurt. We made a nice dent in the US marketplace, selling millions of garments into the US by 2006. And then my life changed again. in a way that I really could never have imagined. In the spring of 2006, I was fortunate to join Danny Reese at Canada Goose. My first role was VP of Sales for North America. Our total company annual revenues were just about $12 million at that time. Danny recalls that he asked me if I knew anything about down-insulated outerwear, to which I replied, nope, but I'll learn. We had about 9 people in the front office, including me and Danny, a small factory and warehouse right in our building there at Castlefield in Caledonia. And in 2007, my role expanded to include global sales, and as head of sales for Canada Goose, my responsibility was to drive top-line growth around the world. In 2013, we passed the $100 million mark with a presence in around 40 countries. In 2015, I moved to Switzerland to set up the headquarters as general manager of our newly established Swiss-based subsidiary. After hiring over 60 people and from 14 countries and enjoying a lot of skiing and too much fondue, I came back to Canada. I needed to lose weight. So I came back to Canada in June 2017 and retired from Canada Goose. 11 years of being part of something quite extraordinary, with revenues now in the hundreds of millions. The irony is that even today, with the incredible global success of the brand of Canada Goose, it was still just as challenging in the early days to gain traction in the retail and consumer marketplace. We needed to be evangelists of the brand, believe in our purpose and mission, really never giving up, not on the first rejection, not on the second rejection, and pretty much ever. Find a way to find a way. Never give up. Learn from everyone around you, seeking people who share the same optimism that you have and should have. Misery, we know, loves company. Stay well away from negativity. Share and give back to those people who need in whatever way you can, whenever you can. So in closing, I hope you've been able to gain some inspiration around my journey, which still continues, by the way. Remember, your own success is a road, it's not a destination. Believe in yourself and in your vision, which is most likely not part of so-called conventional thinking. Thinking outside the box is critical, of course, but finding your very own unique box, that can be magical. So I wish you all every success, and even if you don't think you are winning, you will be learning for sure. Good luck, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, for sharing your lifetime of experiences. We are inspired by your achievements and passion for the fashion industry. Now, everyone, please enjoy our Enchantment fashion show.
I can't stay. taken by control, taken by control, taken by control, taken, whoa, 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 finally I realize there'll be no more you and I, because you had it your way, but I'm taken by control, 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 whoa, 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 Skin for your skin, sin for your sin, eyes for your eyes, lips for your lips. Skin for your skin, sin for your sin. Feel it down, 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 down. Think about it later. Feel it down, 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 down. Think about it later. Feel it down, 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 down. Think about it later. Feel it down, down.
but for you I run the world, I'd run the miles. The way you look at me, I think I'm going insane. It's crazy how we started out to what the love you can't. You need me, say my name. Don't ever hesitate. It's 2 a.m. outside, when I'm with you I feel way too high. You know you got me going crazy, baby. I just need to know that you will stay, please, yeah. With you I feel too high. I feel too high. Yeah, it's going on with you, I feel you got me going crazy, stone cold love, but my blood keeps crazy. Ay. If you run, then I'm chasing. Girl, you number one, I know that you know you're amazing. Okay, I swear you got me high and I ain't talking about no drugs. So all I need is you, I swear your love is like my plug. Hey, baby, I might come and steal your heart, I'll make a crime scene. Designer on your tight jeans, some diamonds for your timepiece, yeah, yeah. You know you got me.
Thank you for making another Threads event a huge success to all of you. And please join us next year for Threads 2020.
Outside, when I'm with you, I feel way too high. With you, I feel too high. You won't feel it hard. You won't feel it hard. You won't feel it hard. You won't feel it hard.